All right, continuing on with inverse cosine. If I have a 2 out front, that's going to cause a vertical stretch, which is only going to affect my range and not affect my domain. So my domain is going to be the same. My domain is going to go from -1 to 1. And my range, instead, going from 0 to pi, is going to go from 0 to 2 pi. Because I have a vertical stretch of 2, so it's going to be twice as big. So when I switch this, in order to go x equals, this cosine inverse, this inverse cosine, arc cosine, has to be by itself. So I have to divide by 2. So I have y divided by 2 equals the inverse cosine of x. Then I can change the form. Again, this is my angle, this is my ratio. So x is equal to the cosine of y divided by 2. So if I go through and I make a table like I've been doing, because my angle is being divided by 2, I have to make them twice as big. I have to make these twice as big. So 0, pi halves, pi, 3 pi halves, and 2 pi. And look what happens, 0 to 2 pi, 0 to 2 pi. We already knew that was going to happen. So when I plug these in, the cosine of 0 divided by 2, or the cosine of 0, is 1. Pi halves divided by 2 is pi fourths. The cosine of pi fourths is square root of 2 over 2. Pi divided by 2 is pi halves. Cosine of pi halves is 0. 3 pi halves divided by 2 is 3 pi fourths. The cosine of 3 pi fourths is negative square root of 2 over 2. And 2 pi divided by 2 is pi. The cosine of pi is -1. So when I graph this, -1, 0, or excuse me, 1, 0, 1, 0, square root of 2 over 2, which is again 0.7. It's now up at pi halves. It's twice as big. 0 pi, negative square root of 2 over 2, or negative 0.7. It's up at 3 pi halves. And -1, 2 pi. Barely fit on my graph. No arrows, vertical stretch by a factor of 2.